Guys, welcome back to another episode with AB Investments. As you can see, the sun is super shiny and it's in my eyes, so I'm glad that actually I have my hat acting as a visor right now. So wait for it, wait for it. Coming at you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Mike on the float, brother. Much love. You actually gave me a laugh when I first saw that video earlier today. Thank you for the positivity, and I appreciate the fact that I'm very proud to call upon you, and to even very lucky to have you as a brother. So much love to you, bro. So, guys, let's speak about what happened today. You saw the like yesterday's video when I was talking about what I'm about to do with options and all this stuff. And what do you see happen today, right? I keep explaining to you, everybody, from over the weekend, talking about the importance of seeing when stocks are heavily oversold, and it shows on the indicators and the technicals. And I understand some people look at the technicals and the indicators in from a completely different lens. And that's the sad part, is that they look at technicals as in the technicals are supposed to deliver MOAS, or when will it deliver MOAS? There's no technicals for that. And even throughout MOAS, if MOAS was to happen, most technicals are technically out of the window, because they all will get overshot, overburnt, because technicals or indicators are reacting to the price action. So in an event of a MOAS, the biggest thing that will help you is, or a short squeeze, or a price that is pumping, are price action reading, not necessarily mostly the indicators. Indicators are good to see what happens with the stock, what has it been doing, where is it at relatively to the last month or so, or this past year, or how is the stock overall doing. It's kind of like a general checkup when you go to your physician. They check your pulse, they check this, and then they get a better idea on, okay, if you are in what kind of state you're in, like health-wise. Anywho, the importance of why I say that, guys, is because you know my stance on after the reverse split and the conversion, of how I plan to make not just my money, but back or get good and make my position even hold more and more deeper and all that. You guys know I'm a trader. You guys know I'm a day trader. You guys see many examples from me, and I try to encourage everybody, not advise anyone or any of that, but try to encourage everybody to not put all their eggs in just one particular basket and think that this is do or die. No, your life is a lot more precious than just thinking that way or going about it that way. So what do I mean by all this? When any company or stock gets heavily oversold or overshorted to oblivion in such a short amount of time like this, guess what that does? That means that there are so many fish that came in to short the stock that are not necessarily the shorts that we're dealing with since day one. So for example, we might be stuck knee deep in with shorts like the Citadels and the Citigroups and the what have yous and whatever happened with Melvins and all that stuff. But those are the guys that are stuck with us until we see this whole process go through, till the end of it. Whether it's us on top or them, they're stuck with us, right? They need my shares more than, and your shares more than I do. I know that. That's just the way I think about it. It's not financial advice. It's just my belief. And yes, while they might have access to a bunch of shares now from a CEO and a board, and yes, while they could dilute the stock many times over and all this stuff, and again, we don't know what happens tomorrow. All I could do is dictate what happens today that could give me a better fighting chance for tomorrow, and build a stronger base so that I can take care of tomorrow. That's all I'm all about. That's what my mindset, how I go about business, how I go about life, and that's what it is. I can't keep getting stuck in yesterday. While I encourage still everybody to continue to fight the good fight and speak against corruption, speak against manipulation, whoever you may think is all in on this, whoever you may think is part of this and causing this, I'm not going to go against your opinion and your mindset of how you go about it. But what I will say is continue to tell you to ask yourself this question, the one question, the billion-dollar question. What am I doing today to make tomorrow better for myself? What is my plan? Do I have contingencies? If I don't have contingencies, then I need to make them. It's never late, guys. It is never late. Again, this was never everybody's life. And whoever went all in and all this stuff, there's many of us that did that. Guess what? Money comes and goes. But your health does not. That's true wealth. So therefore, what can you do today to make it again back to where you need to be, or where you were, or even much better? Again, we don't know how this ends. You could still, perhaps we could have a MOAS, and guess what? All of you could be like, man, what if we had this MOAS and I still had all my position? Even if you come out on top, I know that feeling. That's why these contingencies plans and these building a stronger today makes a much more successful, or possibility for a much more successful tomorrow, is important. That's why that question is the most important question. Now, as far as, I'll end the video with this, as far as the price action, when I made that video yesterday and then over the weekend I started hinting at it. Again, I wasn't giving financial advice, but you saw the price action today. People are asking me, is this ape being induced in the AMC? Humbly and respectfully, I personally don't think so. It has nothing to do with it. What this is all about is when a stock is completely oversold and perhaps overshorted, what they did was, in the past month or so, in the past few weeks, a lot of other players besides the ones I was alluding to, like the ones that are knee deep in the process with us, that are stuck with us until they see this whole process play out. There's other fish out there that see, they swarm, they smell the blood, they see what's happening here, they see the commotion. They don't want to be a part of the drama, they don't want to be a part of this, but the nature of the beast in this economic world and in the trading market is that it's all about money. And these guys, they want to take a bite. So what did they do? They went in, bought deep in the money puts, as I laid out to you last week and the week before that, deep in the money puts, so that they can make sure that worst case scenario, it's not an automatic short. Worst case scenario, they just lose the premiums on those puts. However, when the price did go accordingly and the court gave them what they needed, guess what? When the price dropped way below obviously that deep in the money put and the break-even point, that's when they exercise these positions. And thus far, because they don't own any shares in the stock, it automatically transfers into becoming a short, dumping them onto the market, making much more money, and on top of that, increasing the selling pressure, adding to the selling pressure on the stock, which further puts it down. And then now those guys, again, they're not interested in the drama, they're not interested in banking their up in the company, while they would love that, but again, they just want to collect their profits. They're not in this with us to the end. There's other ones that are doing that, and who knows, they might come back later to try to do that. But right now, all they care about is making their money. How do they make their money? They have to close those small positions. How do they close those positions? They buy back the shares at a lower price and return them to the entities that they borrowed them from, whether they were phantom or not, whether they were from our own custodians, aka brokers, or not. It's besides the point. As long as they make their money, the price action does its thing. And let's just see if the price continues to move on to the upside, as I see happening. Again, in that price run up, there was room for a lot of money to be made, guys. I understand you might look at $2-3 in a stock movement action, like hypothetically speaking, if you got in when it was at the $10 range and you bought stocks and it ran up to 13 or plus today, you would have been like, hey, guess what? I made about $3 profit plus, depending on when you got out and when you got in on my position. But even then, if somebody else could come in, and that's good profit, but somebody else could come in and say, hey, I bought in calls and this is my style right here, because I don't want to touch my shares, because again, I'm numb to the pain now after what they did with the reverse split and continuing on with the conversion. So therefore, I'm hurting them with calls. So now the calls, as they go up from the 1060, 1070, whatever the case may be, to the 13s, that's a lot of good money, depending on when you got in. Like $1,000 is technically, could easily double or even triple just from that run up in the price, depending on when you got in. Even if you 100x'd, that's $2,000 total. You got your 1,000 back and you created another 1,000. Now what you do with it ultimately after that, whether that's your capital to continue to pile up and do more plays and other things, that's up to you. But it all starts somewhere. So remember that the, the journey of whatever journey in this life starts with one step, no matter how long it is. So with that being said, if you have any questions, family, put it in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to answer, unless it's financial advice and I can't do that. Much love to all of you guys, and wait for it. Much love in the investments.